This year I got funded 4 separate times and I'm on the verge of getting my first payout, and I owe it all to the 2 strategies that I'm going to share with you guys today in this video. The 2 strategies that we're going to cover is fair value gap fills and false breakouts. This is the exact blueprint. No fluff, no fillers, just the 2 strategies that changed everything for me, and they can change everything for you too. So let's dive right into it. I'm going to make this extremely simple. The 2 setups that we're going to be going over are going to be fair value gap fills and false breaks. And these are the 2 setups that I use every single day, the 2 setups that have gotten me funded 4 times this year, and the 2 setups that have me on the verge of getting my very first payout. And I'm going to give you guys the blueprint. Are these setups complicated? No. Do they happen often? Yes. Are you going to win majority of your trades using these setups? Yes. Are you going to win every single trade using these setups? No. But the probability of you winning majority of your trades is very high. Let's start with the fair value gap fill. So if I were to draw what a fair value gap fill looks like in a schematic type of version, it would look like this. Let's say you have price kind of consolidating and then you have a push. Now, when price typically pushes in one direction, whether that be up or down, and you have major candles that push in one direction, you tend to leave volume imbalances behind. There tends to be gaps left in between the market. The fair value gap fill is essentially waiting for price to come back down into those gaps. And once price comes back to that gap, the area where I would be looking for to get in is going to be once price gets into that gap. Now, where am I typically looking for my fair value gaps? I'm looking for my fair value gaps on the higher time frames. So for me, the higher time frames are going to be the 1 hour, the 4 hour, and the daily. These are the main time frames that I use on a daily basis when looking for intraday trades. You don't need to go any higher than that. You can go higher than that on the charts. However, I personally do not recommend it in terms of intraday trading. These are the 3 time frames that have been the most successful for me, and these are the ones that I use every single day. Now, after I identify my gaps, I also need to make sure that my gaps fit certain criteria. One of those things is following the trend. Now, how do you know if you're following the trend? That we'll have to go over in another video. But basically you want to look at the charts and identify what is more likely to happen. Is it more likely to go up or is it more likely to go down? Now, 9 times out of 10, if yesterday and the day before were bullish, then we're more likely to be bullish today. However, if yesterday and the day before were bearish, then we could potentially be more bearish today. That's just an easy way of being able to follow the trend. So the third thing that we need to make sure aligns with our fair value gap is the time. Now, with time, you can have all of your other criteria lined up, but if it doesn't happen at the right time, then none of it matters. Now, for me, what is the right time? The right time for me is always New York session. I trade New York session, but specifically, I trade between 9 and 11 a.m. You want to make sure that you are getting into your trade, or that your fair value gap is being traded into at the perfect time when there is the most volume, when there's the most optimal trading conditions. That perfect time for me is going to be New York session, 9 to 11 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. Now, if you're trading London session, then the perfect time is 3 a.m. to 5 a.m. Now, can you have fair value gaps being traded into before these times? Absolutely. Can you have fair value gaps being traded into after these times? Absolutely. But you want to make sure that you are getting into the trade at the most optimal time, where there are the best trading conditions, the most value, and you're more likely to win the trade, which is going to be between these times here. And the last thing that we look for when trading our fair value gaps is liquidity. So we're going to look for areas of liquidity to target for our take profit. Now, there are other confirmations that you can look for when you're trading fair value gaps. This is all you need to be able to catch trades on a daily basis and have a high probability of winning majority of your trades when trading fair value gaps. So we come to the market, it's just before 9:30 and market is about to open. This is the pattern that we see after price has been on an uptrend throughout London session. The first thing that I'm going to do when I come to the market is I'm going to mark off this gap that is sitting right here on the 1 hour time frame. I'm then going to wait until market opens at 9:30, and I'm going to wait for this candle right here to pull all the way back to this gap, and this is where I would be looking to take my entry. And then once I get in my entry, I'm going to be looking for price to push back up. That is how you trade a fair value gap. All right, now let's move on to false breakouts. Now, false breakouts happen a lot. With false breakouts, similar to fair value gap fills, we would look for price to be in a consolidation area. And essentially, we would look for these older higher lows. So we have some highs here and we have these lows here. And we'd essentially be looking for price to run above these highs, this previous high. And then when price reverses and comes down here, we would essentially be looking to get our entry right here when it ran above that previous high. And then we would be looking for price to reverse and come down and target the previous lows. So what is a false breakout? Essentially, a false breakout is when price runs above an old high and reverses, or runs below a previous low and then reverses. So now, where should we be looking for our old highs or lows? I personally like to look for my old high or lows on the previous day's high or low. And I also like to look at the Asian session high and low. I also pay attention to the London session high and the London session low. These are the main highs and lows that I like to pay attention to for these types of moves. And of course, last, just like on our fair value gap fills, what is the most important thing, or the last important thing that we also need to keep in mind? And that is time. Again, what time is this happening? We need to make sure that the previous highs and lows are getting run at the right time, whether it's for New York session or for London session. But none of this else matters if it's not at the right time. Timing is everything. If all of this stuff is happening but it's not at the right time, then there's no trade. It doesn't matter. You need to make sure that all of these things are happening at the optimal time so that you have the highest probability of having a successful trade. These things happening at the right time could be the difference between a losing trade and a winning trade. It could also be the difference between you having a 5-10 minute trade and sitting in a trade for hours in consolidation or drawdown. So time is the most important thing on both of these. Time. I cannot say it enough. Time. If we came to the charts and we were looking to catch a false break, the first thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to mark off this low right here, this previous day's low. And then I would be looking for price to come down, not just touch this low, but break below it, leaving behind a wick, and then start to reject and push back up. So I would be looking to take my entry right around here for price to then turn around and continue on a bullish trend. That's how you trade a false breakout. And there you have it, my exact 2 step-by-step strategies that have been the bedrock of my success thus far. My goal is to give you the blueprint, not just the fluff. So if you found this video valuable and you want more no fluff actionable strategies that you can start using today, make sure that you hit that like button, subscribe, and hit the bell notification so that you don't miss when I drop another video. Most importantly, let me know down in the comments which one of these strategies is your favorite and you're wanting to try first. I'll catch you guys in the next one. Stay blessed.